Welcome to Senior Talk Radio here on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. This is Project Independence and You. I'm your host, John Ryan, and my co-host today is Otto Lohse.
I can't wait, John. This is the Kristina Lew segment.
This is the Kristina Lew Show, or the Kristina Lew segment. And what I want to do today, which is very interesting, I want to talk to Kristina. I want to ask Kristina the importance of having a positive attitude in life. We're going to talk about stuff. And I think, you know, there's so much going on with the coronavirus and pandemic and everything else. And but this segment, I want this segment to be a little bit more interpersonal. And I want this segment to go out to our listening audience so that they'll turn around and get an aha moment and say, thank you, Kristina. Thank you, Otto. Thank you, John. I never thought of that before. And so that's my first question this morning, is the importance of a positive attitude in life. And there's nobody more positive than Kristina Lew.
I try. Well, thank you. Now the pressure is like really on. I feel like I need some kind of like wisdom on the listening audience. But listen, I really want to be clear to everyone. You know, we had touched upon it in previous shows that it's the medical, you know, everyone's worried about your health, your physical health and, you know, life, but what's really equally as important is the mental component. And I think that it's something that has been really getting attention, you know, in our current climate. So it's not easy, especially during this time. You know, certainly we've talked about this on our previous shows. It's hard. Because you can just hear this and you hear the news and, you know, we're so inundated as Americans with so much information all the time that your brain could explode, you know, sometimes. And it's easy to get sucked into it, frankly. You know, there are some days and in the beginning of things where you felt, you know, just kind of heavy and it was just this and everything was doom and gloom. But listen, we're in summer and it's really important to find little things that you can do that makes you happy each day. You know, I'm certainly a person who likes to keep busy. I think both of you can attest to that. It's very difficult for me to not be doing something. And I mean something as simple as just a little project around the house. You know, I've been doing a lot of that, frankly. And it's just, you know, and with it nice outside, it's fun to do things outside. I revamped my tiki bar outside with my husband, and I'll give you a little backstory on that because tradition's super important to me too. And everyone knows that I'm very sentimental. So it's a little difficult for me to part with things. I've gotten a little better over, you know, time. I mean, you know, based on our segments about how to kind of spring clean, I've tried to take those little golden nuggets, you know, along the way. But there was this tiki bar that I had built when I was with my dad, when I was like 20, I think, 2021. We built this tiki bar because we thought it would be great. So this was like our father-daughter project together. It started off, you know, hot pink. It was like a Barbie tiki bar, you know, so it really, it had, you know, the luau, like it was all like luau themed. It was bright, like pink. And we had that. And it was always such a staple in my house, you know, and my friends and family. And we would always gather around this. And I was so proud of it because, you know, I had actually built this with my dad. Then flash to 2000, I want to say 14, 15, I think. We were in our new house. And Jay was like, we really got to do something about this hot pink tiki bar. It's not necessarily going with the aesthetic of things. So me, my dad, and Jay, we repainted it, we tiled it, because I said, I don't want to, yes, it's very easy. I probably could have been cheaper to just go out and buy a new one, but there was history in this. So I couldn't, you know, and first of all, I think my dad would be completely devastated if we even attempted to get rid of it. He would have been more upset than I'd be. So we did this and we put it together and, you know, it was nice. It gave it like a little facelift. So then, you know, of course, we continued to have memories and moments. And it was always kind of like a focal point on, you know, whatever backyard I had at the time. So during the pandemic, you know, the problem is I've been watching a lot of like home shows, and I'm just like want to like redo everything, you know, it's like all the time. And I think also working from home, it's like you're just constantly staring. Everything is more noticeable. So I said to Jay, I said, you know, let's think of a fun project. Let's like, you know, kind of revamp this. So we got reclaimed wood we put on the outside of it. And it was fun because I did it with my husband and it was a really fun project. So it took us like 2 days or so to do. And it was just nice because it's, you know, there's still the hot pink paint is still underneath it, you know, which is just nice to know. So it's something like that, you know, and it really wasn't an expensive thing. You know, we took something and it's just if you find something little to do around the house, you know, I've been organizing like a crazy person, you know, like drawers that, you know, I would never think twice about. Like now everything is like, oh my God, like I got to get, and I've been getting rid of stuff, guys. So I'm really proud of myself. That was a
Kristina,
successful thing
are
for me.
you actually getting rid of it or you're moving it from
I
one room
actually,
to another?
no, you will be proud. I've actually been getting rid of things because it's just, you know, and I think a lot of it is because I've literally just been home, you know, so I'm like working, everything is from home. So it's just, you feel like, and you just feel lighter. I was laughing with my brother. I was like, oh my God, we like always have so much garbage in our house because all of us are like constantly like trying to like get rid of stuff. I was like, the garbage men are probably like, oh God, this, you know, this house again. But it was, you know, it's these little things that you could do. And it's, you know, something, you know, Otto's mentioned in the past about, you know, going through old photographs. Like now's the time to do things that you've, you know, been too busy to do. And it's really, listen, everyone's got something else that kind of brings them joy in it. And like I said, doing little things around the house has been really fun for me, you know. And of course, Jay's like, oh God, he like dreads a phone call because I'll call up, be like, I have this idea. So like, he's like, you and these like ideas, you know. So I was like, well, you know, I've been watching a lot of like TV, so I can't help but like get motivated by these different shows that I'm watching.
I've seen all pictures, the three
Yes,
pictures
because I
of
had it
it.
on Facebook. That's right.
It was on Facebook.
I've seen them.
And it's funny because I was going to say like that's a Kristina thing because you had something. It's functioning
Mm-hmm.
today as
Oh,
it
it's
did
solid.
20 years
This is
ago.
real. I was really impressed. I was like,
You
this
people
thing is
make it function.
solid.
I'm sure it's
Yeah,
full.
like this.
You actually
But-
use the tiki bar?
Mm-hmm.
You
So- Yeah, so behind it,
No, I'm
you know,
just
we have the
kidding.
front behind it. We actually have it's open, so there's storage back there. So back there, and I actually cleaned that out because there was a lot of things I was holding on to that have like seen better days. I was like, it's time just to get rid of this. But now it's all organized because we have like the barbecue stuff I did, and then I have, of course, the party supply stuff. So there's like if I want to do a luau party, or you know, I have cocktail napkins. You know, I could supply the world. If anyone is short on napkins, a decorative napkin, call me because apparently, I don't know at what point I've acquired all these napkins, but there's a lot of
And
that.
Otto, the tiki bar, I saw what Jay did to it. It's very well constructed. So at the end of the night, when Christina's on top of it dancing, it's not going to
Right.
fall. It's
Yeah,
going to be
right.
there.
And it's
It
also
holds
on
up.
wheels. It's actually on wheels, so watch out. I could wheel it around as well.
I have to hire you for my my jet game experiment.
That's right. I told you, Otto, I'm there. I'm there. I'm absolutely there. But like I said, it's those little things, you know, to do and to stay kind of active, keep your brain going is really, you know, because that's the other thing, you know, being trapped in your house, it's very easy to fall into kind of like a lazy kind of mode, you know, like, oh, I'm just going to sit here. And, you know, Otto, I remember you were saying too, like, it was like in your house, it was like, all right, let's only put the TV on starting at this time, you know? So you kind of don't want to get sucked into that. And listen, and go for walks. You know, we've been so fortunate, really, for the most part, that weather has been really, really good through this whole time. I mean, it's really kind of, so you have the ability to at least go outside. And being outside is frankly how I see anyone, you know? It's really just being in someone's front yard or in the backyard, you know, or eating out, you know, outside of a restaurant or whatever it is. So it's these little things, and that's all you could do. It's fun, you know.
I just want to intermingle what you're saying, Kristina. Otto, what is your jet thing?
Oh
that
yes,
Christina's going to help with.
Well, I think I mentioned normally we go to a jet game every year with 10 or 11 of us, and there may not be people at the Jet game this year. There may not be a Jet game this year.
Right,
Who
right.
knows? But we're not going to go to the Jet game, even if there is a
This is
game.
live.
Hello, Peter. And we're going to we're going to have the Jet game outside at 1 o'clock with tailgating beginning at 11:30 in the morning, like we're at a game. And you can't go in the house.
I love
You
it
have
so
to
much.
stay outside. And I've determined that I'm going to rent a projector and stream because you need a lot of lumens for daylight, and put this sheet up on the garage and probably have, I don't know, 15, 20 people watching the Jet game outdoors like we're at the Jet game, no matter what the weather is. The game is October 11th. So the weather could be okay. It could be maybe not okay.
Right,
but
right.
I will put up a tent, and so if it is raining, we'll have to go under the tent. But the whole idea is
I
to
love it. I love it so much.
simulate that we're at a game. So we talked about this at a previous show. You think about that idea. People who are, maybe they went to a certain college and they always go to watch that college. Like, I know there are a lot of bars in the city that will cater to certain alumni on a given Saturday when those games are there. 100, 200 people go to that bar to watch the games. Well, maybe they ought to try doing an outdoor version of it, watching a game, with the camaraderie part of it, which is really the key ingredient. And barbecue, do hot dogs, hamburgers, whatever. I haven't totally fixed the whole arrangement up yet, but I'm hustled in a couple of guidance counselors, son-in-laws and whatnot, who have diddled around with things like this before. And, it's like the Kristina Lew Tiki Bar.
No, it's tradition, and I think that was that's such a thing for your family. You know what I mean? And listen, we have to be flexible in this new world, because obviously we wish we could all snap our fingers and everything's back to, the way it was. But things are going to be different. Frankly, we don't know for how long. And sometimes it's different for the better. Maybe it'll make think twice about sanitation kind of things in different buildings or restaurants or whatever it might be. So I love that you're doing it. I've been telling everyone that you're doing it, because I just think it's such a great thing. I feel like you should also probably rent like a little hot pretzel machine, which I just highly recommend. I feel like that just adds.
Well, I'm going to look to you for some guidance.
Oh, please.
The party planner.
You are the party planning master.
Just want to acknowledge that was my partner, Peter, who just came in, sat down for 5 minutes, 30 seconds, and then left. But nevertheless.
He heard we were talking about the great stuff. He had to come in.
Nevertheless, how long was this going to be? This is Project Independence in You. I'm your host, John Ryan, and my co-host today is Otto Lohse.
By the way, Peter is also your technical advisor.
He's also my technical advisor. Exactly. He's the one who sets me up on the computer. He wasn't here earlier today, so Nancy did it for me, so she helped. But he had an appointment, and after he made his appointment, I said, it's Tuesday. Oh, he felt so bad. He says, I'll have somebody else set you up. But nevertheless, he's the one that gets me going on so much. And he's my business partner, and he does basically everything. He's a wonderful human being. So that's my plug for Peter. But what we're focusing on today, and what we're going to be focusing on, I think for some time to come, is when you get a person, and I have two of them right now that we're talking to, both Kristina and Otto. But this is the Kristina Lew show, and over the last couple of years, Otto and I have both said with amazement some of the things that you do, and even for the children in your life, the kids that you're always doing these little parties for and stuff like that. People can hate their lives right now, without exaggeration, for whatever number of reasons. Pandemic, corona, this, that, or the other thing. But you have to find something. And it's not always possible. So I'm not making it sound like everything's coming up roses or whatever they say. Sometimes you just got to go with it and accept it. but that's something that I'm going to put the burden on you because you're one of these people in my life that doesn't just accept things. You're willing to take the next step, which is very important. And if that step does nothing more than camouflage the negativity, while you're preparing for that party, that's what it's doing. And then finally the party comes and all of a sudden you're having a wonderful party.
No, you're right. And we've talked about this a bunch of times. The fact is it's not easy, right, to be positive. Like, you really have to work for it. You have to work. It's not, people, and that has actually happened throughout my life, like, oh, Christina's, no, it's not, it takes a lot of work, actually. It's not, it's a lot easier to do the woe is me. I don't feel like throwing the towel. You have to actively choose to, and it's extremely difficult in this time, and I've said it many times. There had been days in the beginning that I was so upset. I mean, I was like crying constantly. I'm emotional to begin with, but everything was setting me off. I felt horrible for this one. Forget it. It's everything. It's like the guilt and, oh my God, I feel bad. I'm worried about this one. It was just like your head, like what was going on inside my head, God only knows. Like, it was probably crazy. But, you have to do these little things, and like I said, it was different. I'm a person, I struggled with this whole thing because I'm a social person. So it's really important for me I'm the one who makes time to see this one. Oh, I haven't seen her. Oh, I haven't seen those kids in a while, so I'm always trying to not lose those connections because it's important to me. That's just who I've always been as a person. So I had to figure out kind of creative ways to make that still possible, and obviously now it's easier because we're able to, be together in a certain sense. You can be in a public outdoor place together. And, with the little kids, I was going and I had so many birthdays, and everyone knows I love a birthday. So to get to still see them because, they're little, they don't understand,
I'm
so
just going to interrupt for 1 second. You love a good birthday, but we did miss yours this year.
I
know, that was
well,
tough.
you'll all appreciate this because obviously I had a party, planned and ready to go, pre-pandemic for April, because that's just how it goes. So in my garage, I literally have like party in a bag, well, party in multiple bags. It'd be nice if it was
That's
one
a good
bag,
one.
but it's boxes
Party in a bag.
But I have everything down to the party favors. So all my friends have been laughing. They were like, so like, when do you feel you'll do? And like, it would just be my closest friends, really. So we're talking probably like 20 people. And like, so, but everyone keeps asking me, they're like, well, when are you going to do this? I was like, when it's safe to do it, guys. I don't want to like throw some party, and God forbid, so I needed to be. Listen, I know it has been extended, these gatherings to 25, but I want to like ride it out a little bit longer. But everyone's like, really? I was like, I never realized the impact my events had on people, and you realize it in this because everyone's like, when are you going to do? It's like everyone wants to see each other. I was like, now the pressure's like really on. I feel like I need to like up my ante, this year. So, but like I said, with the birthdays, it was little things and you have to be creative and flexible, and I remember my two little nieces, their birthdays were in like the beginning of March. So I like came like a little elf. They were in the house and I took, cause I had their Easter gifts plus their birthday gifts. I sprinkled it all around their front lawn, and set up like, all right, this is Easter for Karina. This is Easter for Ariana. Here's Ariana's birthday. And they were all in like little stations. So then I stood with my mask on, by my car, and it's hard because they're little, like I said, so I wanted to make it as much as normal as possible. Like, why is Aunt Christina not picking me up and kissing me, So it's like, that in itself was probably the hardest thing for me to do. But they did, and they got to see me and we talked, from afar, and it was just doing these things. Yes, obviously I wish it wasn't, that way, but it has to be. So you have to, Otto and I say that too, especially with someone who is home and alone. There has to be ways getting creative to see that person because frankly, I don't think it's acceptable to just be like, well, I can't, there are little things that can be done to not make someone feel so alone during this time. And I think it's just, you got to be creative. You know, that's
I agree.
really.
I don't. You want to say something?
Well, I think, Christina, you just said something here. You might have an idea for a good business.
Oh.
Party in a bag, like a grab and go, Christina, party in a bag.
I like it.
You have a whole kit. You get it in a bag
I'm
with your
about it. I love a
with your,
good
with
kit.
your, with your fairy dust and everything else
Yeah.
that goes along.
I love it. I think that's a good.
Earlier something was brought up about the television. Don't put the TV on. I'm a big proponent of limiting the news that you watch. Everybody I know who watches the news all day long is miserable.
Mhm.
They're not happy. All they can talk about all the problems that are going on in the world. And yes, there are a lot of problems, but there's also a lot of good stuff going on. And I think, you don't want to walk around like a babbling idiot and not know what's going on. But if you limit it to like a half an hour of watching the news, I think that'll keep you going, you
I'm
know?
so with you.
You're
And
much
that's
better off if you eliminate that part of it.
it's an important thing, really an important thing because like I said, in today's society, it's very difficult because not just, the TV news. I mean, if you're on the computer, you're getting news. If you're, on social media, it's just everything. And it's just this constant flood of information all the time. And like you said, you really can. And I was falling into the trap like every second of every day. I needed to know the latest update on this. And I was looking up this and oh my God, let me check this out, because I wanted to be like prepared for whatever was going on. But then it's like you realize all it does is just completely stress you out. Like it's not really because at the end of the day, like you were saying, you just do like a catch up. Like it's really that's sufficient enough to really just have that half hour catch up and recap of the events that are going on, because it's too much, and everything that's going on in society can be really heavy. But I think what Otto said it's important to do is that there really is a lot of good that goes on too, and unfortunately the media is really going to put out a lot of the negative stuff because that's the headlines, but it is important to also focus on the good. I even started following on different social media pages these sites that are like, it's good vibes or like, positivity, whatever, they got all these catchy little names just to get these triggers, because it's nice to see, when you're scrolling through a positive quote or a positive story, being showcased. Because like I said, it's hard, to you need to seek out those things for your own mental health, because no one even knows the effects that this whole situation is really going to have on people, so it's important to kind of find things, little nuggets and little things each day. My whole thing is like at least once a day, find something small, that makes you laugh or makes you smile. And it could be, it's different for every person. I mean, I try to find a bunch throughout the day, like, but if you could just find one thing, that really keeps you going, and listen, I've been the queen of like lists all throughout this whole pandemic. I mean, it's like list upon list between like work and then things I want to do and wish list items, so it's just to keep yourself stimulated.
You used the word mental health. I think one of the things that's important is to keep problems in proper perspective. I know people who they make a problem out of everything. And I think it's critical for your own mental well-being, and frankly for those around you as well, to try to keep problems in the proper perspective. There are some really legitimate problems that come along that people have. There are health problems that people face that are not fun and they're difficult, and there's no question about that. And yet there are other problems that you have no control over. You can't control a lot of the things that go on in the world. Unfortunately, you have to count on the fact that there are other people who are going to straighten it out. You can try to do what you can do, and that's all you can do. And keeping it in within your framework of your world, and don't make a mountain out of a molehill and dwell on something and put yourself down into a hole that you can't get out of. I think it's critical to just keep it in focus, keep the problem in the right level where it belongs, If it's a stupid little problem, let it stay there. You know, relax, enjoy yourself, figure out something else. Easier
No,
said than done, but
it
you
is.
have to
It's
work
easier
at it.
said than done. It's certainly, and I don't want to sit here and make everyone think that, it's easy to just, walk around and, turn your head. But you're right.
And look like Kristina, right? You don't want everybody to think, oh, look
I
at
put on
this.
like a really good front, guys. It's really, it's a really good skill set. But no, for real, like it's important to realize obviously some things, and I have to say too, listen, John, I know you also are a person who really maintains a positive outlook a lot of times. So it's really fortunate to talk to the two of you about this, because you're both two men that I love dearly, that really are so good to their family and really try to be positive in this current situation, especially. So
I agree. And you know what you just said, which is very important for anybody watching the show. Yeah, watching it and listening to it.
Oh, that's right. We could say that now.
Is a lot of the time, nothing can be forever and nothing can be 100% of the time. Otto basically said it. Sometimes it can't be. You got to move on. And sometimes, guess what? You need that X number of time to be cranky. And you deal with it, and tomorrow is going to be the next day. But the most important thing that I want to end this show on is that inspiration in difficult times comes from many different sources. And during this pandemic, and as it continues on, we hope here that the Kristina Lew show, when people listen to it or see it, whichever they choose, will give them some little spark of saying, guess what? I can try again. I can do a little bit better. The world is not coming to an end just yet. You've been listening to Senior Talk Radio here on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. We'll see everybody next week.